2, 1. One, two, three. Salutations, America, I'm Rob Chapman.
Dave.
What again with the wicked arm swing, like he's clefting in twain a vampiric bat.
I was thinking more like a whip. Or, no,
like
not a whip, a lasso, that's what I'm thinking of.
A lasso?
Yeah. You know,
I think Pickle Pie's just come up with...
Did you ever watch Fawlty Towers?
Yes.
You know the whole like...
With Manuel?
Oh no, that's not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Red Dwarf.
Oh right.
The whole like...
Oh yeah, Rimmer, Lister.
That's it. That's what I'm going for.
I was going to say, I think Pickle Pie has just come up with the next American thing we have to do.
Yeah.
If Joe or Nick knows anyone that can do lasso stuff, we're going to have to give that a try.
Something about lassoing animals, then...
No, I just want to learn how to like do the kind of stuff.
That could be a thing.
When you jump, boy howdy! You jump in and out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Catch us some steer. I don't know what a steer is either.
I don't know.
So Dave, what have you got, bro?
I thought it would be pretty cool as the lovely guys at Darkglass have sent over their demo rig to take this opportunity to kind of do a very brief overview of the Darkglass gear.
Oh, if only we had the official Darkglass demonstrator here to do that. Wait a minute, it's you.
Dave. One off anyway.
One off.
Yes. And also obviously an artist. So yes, I'm slightly biased, but at the same token, I wouldn't be an artist if I didn't love the gear.
No.
So
no matter how much money they threw in your face, you would just be like, stop throwing money in my face. I won't be an artist.
Yeah, that's exactly what it'd be like. Cool. So I guess we'll start with the amp and then we'll look at the board.
Yes.
So this is the Microchips 900. It's a 900 watt RMS solid state amp, and it has 2 drive signals as well as the clean signal. And it also has 2 different types of foot switches. One is just a single one, and the other is the super intelligent foot switch.
What does RMS stand for, Dave?
Actually, Rob, it stands for root mean square.
Wow, how did you find that out? You just knew.
I just knew.
It was instinctive when Nick told him.
So, but as I said, I know what it means. And basically you have constant power and peak power. So when you really dig in and there's a really loud signal, the amp is going to draw more current. And so your speakers have to be rated at certain wattage and RMS, which is the consistent amount of energy that you can pull for a long period of time. And the peak is where you'll start doing damage if you were to be running it at a peak signal for a long period of time.
Very interesting.
So basically, a lot of people, they say it's 1,000 watts. And that's its peak value. It'll handle safely 1,000 watts for a short period of time.
1,000 watts?
This will handle 900 watts consistently.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
That is a lot.
And it weighs I don't know exactly how much it weighs, but it's really light.
It looks like a little PlayStation type thing.
Yeah. So as I said, you've got the super intelligent foot switch, which has a mute button on it, and it has a button for the vintage circuit, which is one of the drive circuits, a button for the B7k circuit, which is a slightly heavier distortion, and then it also has their clean signal, and it all shares the same EQ, but you have different gain levels between the drive and the clean.
Okay.
It also has a little impedance switch on the back of it that allows you to drop it from 4 ohms to 2 ohms. So if you haven't got a cabinet that's powerful enough, you can run it at half power, so effectively making it 400 watts, which is what I'm doing here because we just don't need it to be that loud.
We don't need to ruin the neighbours across the room.
I mean, the master is right down, and so is the gain, and it's still very loud. So they're a Finnish company. They're based out of Finland. And yeah, I think because they just focus on bass gear, and all the engineering and thought and tuning all comes from the perspective of bass players, and more in my genre, I guess, which is the kind of rock, metal, prog, heavy tones.
Polka jazz.
But the EQs are really powerful, and because it's solid state, you can get a very clean signal, so it works perfectly well for other styles. But I think their USP is just great drive and fuzz tones. So you can get this amp and have two completely different drive sounds. In fact, I'll give you a quick demo. So this is the amp clean. And then if I step on the first drive, so this is the vintage drive sound.
Yep. So that, to me, just sounds like Dave Hollingworth, the bassist from Dorje.
Yeah. And then this is the B3K circuit.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, the drive is just over halfway there, and the blend's not even on halfway.
Isn't it weird to think that we're basically playing a solid state backline right now?
Oh, we are.
Because I got the Kemper from Kemper.
So what is that profile then?
It's a plexi with a clon in front of it, and then it's into the ML3RC, of which we have a few left here, Riff City guitar, and just... It just sounds amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that is great. So running down the rig a bit further, the head is plugged into a couple of the prototype cabs.
We're very lucky to have these cabs.
We
They're
are.
not for
They're
sale
very
quite yet, are they?
No, there's very few that have actually been made at the moment. They spent a lot of time. This is another thing that they do. They don't release anything unless they're 100% happy with it. Nothing is prematurely released. If they miss a deadline, they just miss a deadline, and that's just how it is. And so these cabs have taken a little while to come into proper release. But this is the final spec for the cabs. So what you're hearing is what you'll end up with when they're finally out. And they're Eminence drivers, ceramic, and they've got a bespoke, custom-designed crossover inside them. They come in this cool carbon fibre finish.
Nice to see some front-ported bass cabs for a change.
Front-ported, so that's really good for phase because you're not going to have the sound coming out the back, hitting the wall, because often on stage you're going to place it and it's all confined, and then you're going to get the sound bouncing out the back and then phasing with the front. So it sounds really good, and I'm very impressed.
It sounds really good when you play.
I can't wait to get some. I'm looking forward to it. This has been the first. Well, I played through them briefly at the London bass show, but other than that, it's the first time I played through them. Going down, we'll take a quick look at the board. I don't want to spend ages because I don't want it to be a long, drawn-out video. The core of this is that you've got the B3K circuit, and that comes in a few different vibes. You've got like the Ultra and stuff like that, where you basically get some more EQ options, and they're just bigger form factor, and B7k being at the top of it, and you've got B7k Ultra, and basically you get more EQ options and that kind of thing, so you can dial the tone in a bit more. And then the same with the vintage, you've got the Ultra and the Deluxe. And then you've also got fuzz, which has got two different types of fuzz, and you can blend in between the two, and then blend that with your usual signal. And then the Alpha Omega, which is a pedal that was designed by John Stockman with Darkglass, John Stockman is the bass player for a band called Carnival, who I'm a huge fan of. And so I've been using that pedal a lot. And then they've got a compressor called the Supersymmetry. So I'll quickly go through these tones so you just get a rough idea of what they sound like. And yeah.
Do it, bro.
So this is the Supersymmetry Compressor. I'll do a little bit of slap and then put it on, and what you should hear is all the sort of percussive stuff in between the notes getting a bit louder and that kind of thing. So, off. And on.
It's great.
So particularly with the kind of noise it's way more even with the compressor. So that's cool. Then we've got the just the plain sort of small form factor B7k. Which sounds wicked.
Yeah.
And then the B7k Ultra, which is a similar kind of circuit, but it's the Big Daddy version. And this is the Ultra, so you've got like more EQ options and that kind of thing.
Is that what you use on detritus?
I use just the BK7.
Right.
B7k.
B7k.
Yeah. Not the Ultra.
Okay.
It's slightly different. Not a huge amount different, but slightly different.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Microchips side of everything. So this is just the vintage Microchips, again, the small form factor pedal. Sounds nice.
Yeah.
That's a bit more kind of grimy and stoner rock.
It's a bit more Mudvayne.
Yeah, maybe. A little bit. And then the deluxe version, just a bit more EQ option.
That's really fat. I really like that one.
And then the Ultra, where you get even more options. So you'll have noticed that I've kind of got slightly different sounds, just giving us a slight idea of the sort of drive sounds you can get. The other things I should say about the two Ultra versions is that you end up with a preamp side. So you've got basically one button that switches the pedal on, and then a separate button for the drive circuit. So I can essentially have, if I go back to the B7k, we can have the bass bypassed, so the pedal's bypassed and got clean signal.
Yeah.
And then I can switch on the pedal without the drive and just get the preamp side and the EQ section.
Sure.
So, and then I can step the drive on. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And both the Deluxe, the Alpha, the B7k, and the Ultras have DI outputs as well, and parallel outputs. So you can have one bass going in, and then have a signal going to your amp, a separate DI XLR balanced signal going to front of house or to a audio interface or something for recording, and a parallel out, which is just the dry signal. So there's loads of flexibilities for recording and stuff like that. They're really useful pedals. So finally, not finally.
Oh my God.
We've got the Duality, which is their fuzz pedal.
Yeah.
So I'll do that quickly.
That's not even a mild fuzz.
No.
It's all of the fuzz.
As I said, so the Duality, the concept is that you've got two different types of fuzz.
Right.
If I do the extremes, I've got it halfway at the moment because you can blend between the two circuits.
Oh, I see. I thought it was half the fuzz.
No, so it's exactly 50% of both styles. So if I move it to one side, this is kind of like the gated kind of fuzz, where...
That's really cool.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Sounds like a car engine at first.
And then this is kind of the opposite, where it's really loose, and we'll probably get a load of feedback because we're on single coils.
That kind of reminds me of Audio Slave.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then, you can blend between the two, so that's really cool.
Very nice.
And then finally, the Alpha Omega, the John Stockman designed or collaboration pedal.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely my favourite. Again, it's kind of similar to the Duality, but it's a drive version, so you've got an Alpha side and a Omega side, and it's two different types of drive. My personal favourite's the Alpha, but obviously you can blend in a bit of Omega as well.
Do you want to play a bit of Carnival then? Could you play my favourite Carnival tune?
What's your favourite?
The one that goes, permanent,
Oh, yeah.
permanent Goliath.
Do you know what? I don't think I've ever played this.
What?
I probably should have done. But yeah, I mean...
Great.
Yeah.
Such a cool tone.
Yeah. So that's that. I mean, that's on the Alpha side.
Yeah.
I'd probably mess with the EQs if I was going to go to Omega, but I'll do it and just show you the contrast. So this is all of the Omega side. And then obviously you can get a blend of anything in between.
So what tone, what do you use mostly for Dorje? How would you get a Dorje tone?
So with Dorje, what I do is I have an Alpha Omega, which is the main full driven sound that I use on the 4-string. And then when we do things like Reunited and stuff that's on the 5-string, I use the B7k and get a slightly different EQ because they sound a bit different, and so I like to have them. They end up sounding very similar, but I use the EQs to sort of attenuate the difference between the two basses.
So could you play the breakdown?
I also use the Vintage Ultra.
Could you play the breakdown in Outspoken?
Yeah.
I love the slap harmonics that you do in that particular part. It's great.
Yeah, and I use the Vintage for a crunch and my clean tone.
Okay, cool.
So I use a bit of the preamp and then step on the distortion when I just
Is
want.
there anything they make you don't like?
No. No. Genuinely as well. I love all of their pedals.
I think it's also one of the coolest brand logos of all time and space.
Yes.
Made of bass clefs.
Yep.
Very clever.
It's great. So, yeah, I mean, really that's a bit of an overview of the range. Obviously, Riff, stock, Darkglass. So come down and try them.
And also, it's pretty unusual for a store owner to be a bassist.
That is true.
So Uncle Riff really appreciates the tones they give off. If you're a bassist, maybe this is a good place to come.
I would totally agree with that.
And I've been Rob Chapman.
Dave. How did you first get to hear of Darkglass then? A friend of mine called Paul Gill came round to this is when I had the Co studio.
Yeah.
And he came round with a B7k pedal, and he said, "I'm going to make you spend money." and I challenged.
What a great
him.
friend he is.
I challenged him because at the time I thought I had like the best bass drive tone you could get, and I'd been using that rig for nearly 10 years. And we plugged it in, and I was blown away immediately. And I bought one the next day, and that's still on my board. And then, fortunately, Chapman guitars were at the NAMM show, and Darkglass were the booth behind.
Yeah.
And so Beer got chatting to them and started saying, Dave's a massive fan of your stuff, and I love it, and all that kind of stuff. And then they did the London bass show in London.
Yeah.
And they invited us up, and I met them all, and we hung out, and I tried a load of stuff, got really excited, and they basically just offered me to be an artist, and I was like, I'm going to have to make this decision.